Hi, hello. Welcome to another episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is November the 23rd, 2023. Hopefully this episode finds you well, in good spirits, and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good on this Turkey Day. Happy Thanksgiving to you. Whatever, holiday term you want to use and call it, by all means, go for it. As for me, like I said, I'm hanging in. On the cold front update, I am better. I feel better. Less coughing, less mucus, less sore throat, whatnot. But, it's still hanging out with me. But it does look like I should be good to go. I thought I might not be, and then it was a little bit of touch and go. But yeah, things are looking good. Things are looking great, I might say. But we'll see. I'll keep you posted by tomorrow. You'll know. Let's see here. Is there anything else to really report? The food corner was pretty, usual. Pasta. Made some pasta. And there's really nothing else to, add. I'm happy to be off. Happy to have some time to relax. What am I thankful for? I'm thankful for this podcast. I'm thankful for my listeners who have been tuning in regularly. That's great. I love y'all. Most of the people who listen, I don't have a big following or anything, obviously, but it's definitely, friends and people who are super sweet and cool to me. And I really appreciate the hell out of that. So, here's and cheers to you. Hopefully, you're eating something really yummy right now, or, you will be in the near to immediate future. So yeah, let me go ahead and do my startup. Let me hit a little Thanksgiving mode, if you will, and then we'll get into some news. Also, apologies if you hear any background noise. Everyone's in the spirit, by all means. So, my house is a studio and a neighboring home to other homes. That was dumb. Whatever. You know what I mean. Sorry about it. A home to other homes. Isaiah, what were you thinking there? Ooh. Who let this man cook? All right. Let me pull up my news. All right. From Reuters. U.S. forces carry out series of strikes against Iran-backed militia in Iraq. The United States carried out two series of strikes in Iraq against Iranian-backed militants, U.S. officials said on Tuesday. In the first publicly reported U.S. responses in Iraq to dozens of recent attacks against troops in the region. Until this week, United States had been reluctant to retaliate in Iraq because of the delicate political situation there. Iraqi Prime Minister Mohammed Shia al-Sudani has limited control over the Iranian-backed militias, whose support he needed to win power a year ago and who now form a powerful bloc in his governing coalition. A strike on Tuesday evening targeted two facilities in Iraq, the U.S. military said in a statement. The strikes were in direct response to attacks against the U.S. and coalition forces by Iran and Iran-backed groups. Let's see here. The strike by fighter aircraft targeted and destroyed Kateb Hezbollah Operations Center and a Kateb Hezbollah command and control node near Al Anbar and Jerf al Sakir, south of Baghdad, a U.S. defense official said, speaking on condition of anonymity. And the Kateb Hezbollah militia is a powerful armed faction with close ties to Iran. But 24 hours earlier, U.S. forces were attacked at an air base west of Baghdad, and a U.S. military AC-130 aircraft responded in self-defense, killing a number of Iranian-backed militants. As often, it seems, whenever I kind of cover these situations, it is very much a tit for tat, but often the tat is often, very much, over proportional, you might say. Because, sure, people have been injured, and people, serious injuries or 8 injuries and minor damage to infrastructure. At least was in this situation. But like in some of these strikes that have happened in the past, people have been really hurt, and I get that. But then the measured response is them just like leveling an area, like just blowing the shit out of it. And in this situation, it does seem like some of the deaths have kind of been talked about more on social media, been pushed by some Iranian group saying like, hey, this person died in this war. This is related to the situation that's going on in Gaza. So it's relevant in that way. In the whole world scheme things, the whole realpolitik. I'm probably still using that fucking phrase wrong. I don't care. But yeah, man. I mean, it's sad whenever these things happen because, like I said, it just never feels proportional. And I often ask myself, why do we have so many military bases like all over the place? We just have our hands in so many fucking pies. You know what I mean? Just all over the place. A little fingy here, a little fingy there. I don't know. That shit makes me uncomfortable, and it's bleh. But I don't know what you're gonna do, and I feel like these things are gonna keep happening. So I just want to give coverage to it. But let's go ahead and move along. Let's hop on to the next beat. From CNN, Dutch far-right populist seeks to form government after shock election victory. I don't know, man. I mean, this shit is surprising, and it's a shock, but I've said this before, I said it again. If you look on the map and you see what's kind of happening, unfolding, a lot of the world is sadly so fucking socially conservative. It fucking bums me out. But yeah, the Netherlands woke up Thursday to an unexpected victory for Dutch anti-EU far-right populist Geert Wilders and his Freedom Party, PVV. A forecast win that has triggered shockwaves in the Netherlands and could have reverberations across Europe and beyond. Now, Wilders is, anti-immigration. He is anti-EU, it's just said there. And really what that means is he wants to, what he is describing, or what his party is describing as a Nexit, which is like a riff on Brexit, which has done very poorly since it's been implemented. Essentially, that is saying, hey, we are a part of the European Union. We're supposed to work together. We're supposed to make like financial decisions together. All our currency and shit's kind of wrapped up, tied together. We're pulling together. We're working up. We're squatting up. And essentially, what the UK did was like, we don't like this shit. We don't want this. And so, Boris Johnson's party, the Tories, they got to work and essentially just came up with this idea and whipped the people into, saying like, hey, don't you want this? Don't you you don't want to be a part of, the European Union. They're stinky. They're gross. They're dragging us down. We can just have our own economy and be better. And that really hasn't worked out as of late. And it's caused more divisions amongst the UK and more problems, more economic turmoil. So it seems like Wilders is trying to implement this kind of thing. Also, I think he's talked about shutting down mosques and things of that nature, which is fucking Islamophobic if you ask fucking me. So I don't like him. I'm not a fucking fan. I don't know, man. It's definitely bummer times in that regard, but people are going to vote how they want to vote. I feel like in this situation, the immigration issue is a big deal. Also, just the economy, that always plays amongst people. You're doing that populism thing. Now, in terms of forming a coalition, which is, important in this kind of situation, the way, their government is in the Netherlands, is it looks like he should be able to pull it off, but it's not going to be easy to get enough votes. He's going to have to reach across the aisle and, get some more people involved. And he's been trying to work on that. I think he's already trying to curve a little bit of his rhetoric down to say hey, let's work together. Let's make things happen. But you never know with a person like this. Most likely they aren't going to simmer down. They're just simmering down so that they can form this party and then get to doing their fucking grim ass fucking work. So, I don't know. I'm not stoked about it. We'll see if, these other parties say, no, we're not going to fucking work with you. No thanks. And, they kind of tank things. But then in that situation, it plays bad on the politics because it's you get looked at as the problem for not working with someone who's now saying, hey, I'm just being the reasonable guy here. I'm just trying to make government work. When it's no, you're trying to do some fucked up shit, bro. But yeah, I mean, yeah, it does kind of feel similar to the Malay situation we talked about with like Argentina, where it's just like, yeah, this is a wild card situation. People are really upset, and this unrest turns into saying, hey, we're going to vote for this guy. We're going to put our eggs in this basket. And most likely, is it going to turn out well? Probably not. Probably bad. But I mean, at the same time, you're probably looking at, as an individual in your country, like, well, what do I have to lose if things aren't going the way I want now? Especially if you're like, I always hate the anti-immigration crowd. I'm sorry, bro. That's bad vibe fucking company shit. I don't get it. Like, I understand you're scared and, you want to blame someone. You blame your problems on somebody. It's not my fault. It's got to be these people who are not from around here. But it's like, dude, this is literally enriching you guys. Like, this is enriching your own country. And you're trying to, like, shoot yourself in the foot by, like, kicking people out and, like, closing up your borders. I fucking hate that style of leadership, and I hate those kind of people who, like, just don't like people who don't look like them. It's just fucking lame as fuck. I don't know, man. Let's move on to the next beat. Sadly, it is not upbeat. From the Associated Press, authorities capture man accused of killing 3 in simmering Colorado property dispute. So I guess the silver lining is that the person was apprehended. He was captured Tuesday, but initially he had fatally shot 3 people and critically wounded a 4th. And then, was like in the wind and they didn't know where he fucking was. And then they finally, catch him. But I mean, let's just get into it. The suspect, Hammy? We're going to say Hammy. Hammy K. Clark, 45 years old, was arrested by New Mexico State Police near Albuquerque, the Custer County Sheriff's Office in Colorado announced Tuesday afternoon. Officers found a weapon in the pickup truck, but it's not clear if it was the weapon used in the slayings, said Officer Wilson Silver. What a fucking good-ass cop name. Wilson Silver. With the New Mexico State Police. Other neighbors not involved in the shooting have accused Clark of harassing them, denying court-ordered use of part of his property to access their property, which is called an easement, if I'm not mistaken, and posting signs saying he was armed, court records say. The shooting broke out early morning afternoon as a surveyor was working on a property owned by Rob Gears near West Cliff, about 50 miles or 80 kilometers southwest of Colorado Springs. The town is set in a valley between 2 mountain ranges, and the area is home to both farms and ranches as well as vacation homes. The surveyor told investigators that a man Gears identified as Clark approached them, yelling about trespassing, and then started to shoot. The surveyor was able to escape, running to a home about a half-mile away, Clark's arrest affidavit said. According to the document, Patty Dalton, who was wounded in the shooting, called 911, saying she thought her husband and 2 other people had been shot to death. Gunfire could be heard in the background of the call. The victims were identified as Gears, 63, his wife Beth Wade Gears, 73, and James Dalton, 58, Patton Dalton's husband, Custer County officials said. Patty Dalton was being treated at a trauma center. The Daltons and Gears own property near Clark's, Custer County Sheriff Rich Smith said. So yeah, I mean, and now Gears and Clark had a back and forth where Gears had like put up, I think, a hidden camera, caught a guy that looked like Clark and I think like his girlfriend, and then Clark then said that he was getting targeted, or not Clark. Gears had said that he also claimed that Clark and his girlfriend had decided to target him and his wife with harassment and trespassing, and had been concerned about a weapon being seen. So essentially, this just kind of kept ramping up and ramping up and ramping up. But you notice that this Clark guy just was like popping off at every kind of occasion he could, and then literally was like, "Oh, I'm going to shoot you. I'm going to start shooting at people." And that's fucked up, man. And it's a shame that like we keep kind of covering these style of things where you just have an angry, I mean, I hate to say it, but usually an angry white guy, and they have a gun, and it's their law, it's their land, it's their property, you shouldn't be here. And the second they see a car, the second they see a person, they're like, it's on site. I think in this situation, though, Clark's even more fucked up because he's doing it seemingly the same thing that he hates that other people are doing. And it's like, I don't care, once again, if we're saying, like, well, this is tit for tat. You're coming on my land. I'm going to come on your land. Like, brother, it's land. It is simply land. You have your shit here. I think he had, like, some kind of wellness thing that he was working, like, herbal wellness. Let people letting you do your shit. If someone's got to come through your land, do some work, whatever, okay, that's fine. Like, I'm sure people would be way more accommodating if you were an actual just chill person, which it doesn't seem like this guy was. But then, yeah, after the shooting, he goes into the wind, winds up getting captured, and that's more or less where we are now. I wanted to kind of cover this story earlier when he was, captured, but there was just kind of other shit that kind of got in the way. But yeah, I mean, it's very unfortunate, man. I never feel good covering these kind of stories, but they are relevant. And yeah, hopefully we can. This is my optimistic, maybe overly optimistic hope one day, is that we live in a world where at least less of this kind of shit is happening. You know what I mean? You have less of these property disputes that has ended with a weapon. Sure, if you want to get verbal, talk your shit, whatever, okay, fine. Even if you want to do the fucking lawsuits, that's your American right. But, like, come on, just keep it civil. Like, it's as civil as you fucking can. Like, we all want to see tomorrow. God damn it, man. All right, I have one more thing to cover, and I figured since it's Thanksgiving, we should all sit down and talk about some good news, share some good news. So we'll get into that, and let me take my break, and then we'll finish this thing. Stuff the turkey, if you will. Ow. Ow. Sorry about that. From the Associated Press, New Hampshire man had no car and no furniture, but died with a big secret, leaving his town millions. Jeffrey Holt was an unassuming caretaker, as a caretaker of a mobile home park in Hinsdale, New Hampshire, where he lived a simple but curious life. I think from what I've heard from other things, like, his biggest vice was, like, drinking a couple beers. Apparently, like, he'd talk about the world and stuff with, like, passersby or, people at the park. Seemed like a really cool guy. Residents would see Holt around town in threadbare clothes, riding his lawnmower, headed to the convenience store, parked along the main road, reading a newspaper or watching cars pass. Apparently, he was also... he did some time as a driving instructor, but didn't own a car. He would ride a bike, and then I think eventually switched to his lawnmower, which he used his lawnmower to, obviously take care of the mobile home park, and then, do people's lawns, stuff like that. So just doing odd jobs. He was just a really chill guy. Also really super humble, like, meek man. Fun fact about this man: his mobile home in the park was mostly empty of furniture, no TV, and no computer either. The legs of the bed went through the floor. I was tearing up. Man, because, like, look, there's something about a meek old man just living his low life, and he doesn't want for anything, doesn't want for much. Like, that cues it just cues my daddy issues. I'm gonna just say that shit. My dad, he wouldn't do anything. He would just eat, like, macaroni salad. He would just chill and watch his cowboy westerns, and that's all he did. That's all he wanted to do. He wasn't wanting for anything. And this guy was, like, even less. He had his legs of his bed through the floor. Also, he, like, wouldn't run, like, he would run low thermostat. He just wouldn't be wasteful. And it's like, I know, it's like, yes, this is very sad. It's sad that a man like this that was really chill and, just passed away. That's unfortunate. But let's get to the point, right? Okay, here's the highlight. But Holt died earlier this year with a secret. He was a multimillionaire. And what's more, he gave it all to his community of 4,200 people. Excuse me. His will had brief instructions: $3.8 million to the town of Hinsdale to benefit the community in the areas of education, health, recreation, and culture. So it does look like a group is going to be formed to kind of facilitate this money, take care of it, make sure it goes to like the right causes, right, things. I think that's really going to be cool. They've been talking about. There's been no formal gathering to discuss ideas for the money since local officials were notified in September. Some residents have proposed upgrading the town hall clock, restoring buildings, maybe buying a new ballot counting machine in honor of Holt, who always made sure he voted. Another possibility is setting up an online driver's education course. Now, for me, I was like, oh, this is all well and good, but it was like a burning thing until I finally got to read this article. It was like, how did he make this money? Like, how did he, like, acquire it? And my thought was like, well, maybe he, like, won the lottery or something and he just squirreled it all away. But it's like, no, it wasn't that. Like, he actually was big into investing money. And he was a super frugal guy. But essentially, he had made some really good investments. They only mentioned one in this article, but he made an investment into communications, and he made this kind of investment before cell phones were even a thing. So I think he was just really smart with his money, very deliberate, made really good calls, and had all this money just sitting away the whole time. Once again, while there was holes in his bed, and I think he was like the kind of guy who's like, hey, if you need anything, let me know, I'll help you out. But you saw that he was just a guy chilling on his lawnmower, just watching cars go by. So, I mean, at the end of the day, you would think, oh, a guy like this is going to give so much. But, his parting gift to the world, to his town that he loved and didn't want to leave, it said he, like, worked a grain mill, and he could have got a promotion somewhere else, but he's like, no, I like where I'm doing. I like what I'm chilling. And that was something that also resonated with me, because that hit me as a person. I'm like, yo, yes, I get that. Like, I'm comfortable. I love my town. I love my little people. Is it the best, shiniest, brightest thing? Are we changing the world every single day, all the time? No, but I like it here. I'm comfy here. I love these people. It's nice and cozy. And I respect the hell of this man. So kudos to him, flowers to him. And I don't know, smoke one, drink one for fucking Jeffrey, man. Hell yeah. That's the episode. We'll leave it there. Let's see here. I got to shill a little bit. Patreon.com/Isaiah News. If you'd like to support the effort, put some turkey in my box today. You can do that, and you become a newsie. I shout you out at the top of the month. I say your name, plug a project if you like. Let's see here. Also, you can find me on isaiahnews1@gmail.com. And I'm on all the socials that you're probably on, so feel free to follow me. Feel free to, like and do all that stuff. Hopefully you're subscribed to the YouTube. That helps out a lot, means a lot. Thumbs up. Thank you for all of the comments, all the love. We'd love to see that shit. Talk your shit also on that shit. And you guys say, hey, Isaiah, maybe you didn't say this right or do this right. I accept that. I'll definitely take some constructive criticism. I'll say that here. I'm thankful for any words, but I especially do like the kind words, and I especially like the people who, say, hey, like, I want to make sure that, add this shit, talk this shit, please pile on, do that. I love that. You know what I mean? Because I know that I only have a short amount of time. You know what I mean? I try to make this shit nice and brief as much as I can, for as sloppy as it is. But there's things that I miss, and it's like, hey, if you want to say, hey, no, not only this, but and this, do that in the comments. We love that shit. Sound off. But yeah, hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye-bye. Mwah. Gobble, gobble.